You know, the two things that I can't stand about living in Milwaukee, although it's my favorite city in the Midwest, obviously, is one, the occasional ice storm. As we know, I slipped on my rear end last year and broke my ankle, almost off my foot, and the potholes.
Yes.
Oh, and one more thing. The fight to keep your car clean during the winter months because of the snow and the salt, and when the snow turns dark because it starts to melt. That's another thing that is not my favorite, otherwise in a fantastic city that I love.
Well, I moved here from Texas, so
Oh.
the weather was kind of a shock for me.
Right.
But I do think that in this area, they're very well equipped with getting everything cleaned out and shoveled, and so that it really is never an issue getting any place, even after a big snow. In Texas, you get a 1/4 inch of ice, and you never go anywhere for a week.
That's true.
So,
I
anyway,
see that on the news, and that's one great thing about Milwaukee. That's absolutely true. We have great, roadways and things like that, and good municipal services, I guess is the word.
Right.
And
Now, you mean you were raised here?
I was raised here.
And
I had left, and then I came back. And one of the reasons I came back was the Midwest feel. And I think that's really hard to put into words, but you can walk down the street and people will say hi to you, where the place that I moved before, I was down in Miami, Florida, and people are sort of from different places, and maybe you don't have that kind of like, well, we're all from the Milwaukee area. The people are always happy to see each other. And I love the farmer markets that we have around the city. And we've even got the winter farmers market at the Domes, which is really great.
When we found out that we were moving to Milwaukee, no choice in that.
Right.
But we did choose where we were going to live in Milwaukee. As it happened, my daughter's first grade teacher actually was from Milwaukee, went to Nicolay, and told me that I'd be really surprised about how much I'm going to like the area. And choosing for a family, we decided to not be as close to downtown Milwaukee, so we chose a smaller community, Cedarburg, about 25 minutes from downtown Milwaukee, and which was a great little community, very historic, very charming, was built or started because of the immigrants who wanted the water from Cedar Creek for the mill, and so Cedarburg is built along Cedar Creek, which is charming. Good schools, football team for my son, gymnastics center for my daughter. So there was a lot to offer us, plus a lot of different choices in housing.
Right.
As a realtor now, I look back and think I've made a really good decision.
Right. And I mean, I was also raised in right next to Cedarburg in Grafton, which we call the Twin Cities,
Right.
which is kind of a joke up in Ozaukee County. And my husband and I chose to move a little closer to the city because we were young when we bought our first house, and we fell in love with Whitefish Bay. It's a walking community. You walk your dogs, the kids walk to school. We can walk to the lake. We're really close to Estabrook Park. I know somebody else mentioned the beer gardens here that are back now, and our neighborhood is huge into walking over to Estabrook Beer Garden every once in a while. It's a quick hike, and have a couple of beers and we can walk back. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's kind of like Cedarburg. I mean, it's been called one of the best main streets in the whole United States, and it's true. Everything centers around the downtown. There's lots of areas around, for housing.
Right.
But everybody participates, going downtown. There are festivals, the Strawberry Festival. My favorite is the Wine and Harvest Festival. And then there are lots of restaurants, a lot of ambiance. I walk a lot, and so I like to walk along Cedar Creek. So it did offer a lot. Now I live in Grafton because there are more condos in Grafton.
Right.
But I find that living there is very easy. Plus, as you said, it's really close to Cedarburg. You can't hardly tell when you go from one to the next. And there's a lot of your daily shopping. There's
Right.
You know, there's Target, there's Costco, there's Home Depot, you know, so there's a lot there. Myers, there's a lot for your daily, easy, you know, your living. And it's
Right.
all very easy to get around. I mean,
It is very easy to get around in Ozaukee County, I have to admit. And the freeway speed is 70 there, which is kind of my favorite, full disclosure. Also, what I love about Milwaukee is frozen custard and big burgers. Cops, Leon's, all those great places that we can go and get your sweet tooth on. We've got great chocolate places. I know you've got
we got
Sweet Trios.
We have Sweet Trio, we have Chocolate Factory.
Right.
You know, there's a lot. Whatever they have, other places we have in
Right, and
Cedarburg.
we've got Burke's and different places like that, so it's exciting. And the neighborhood feel of Milwaukee, where, you know, Bayview is its own little neighborhood, although it's Milwaukee proper. The east side is sort of like that, and there's real sense of pride in people's neighborhoods. I happen to love that. I think that's really fun and charming, and you know, everybody's got a kind of a what's great about my part of the city, which is prideful and very, very nice and all done in good fun. So
I could say the same thing for the Cedarburg Grafton area.
Right.
And because I love all the different restaurants we have as well. And now that I don't have kids at home, I can go out a lot more.
Right.
And so there's a lot of different kinds of restaurants. As I said, one of my favorites is the Stilt House, because it has such a history behind it, which all of Cedarburg does. But the owner of the Stilt House, it used to be a tavern in early 1900s. He asked the city if he could build a second floor. They said no. And so he put the first floor on stilts and built another first floor, which they allowed him to do. Okay, sounds crazy.
That's funny.
It does sound crazy,
Right.
but that's how it came to be. And then in the last 10 years, the restaurant came in, and it's very, very popular. Lots of other places as well.
Yep, and I do love the history behind a lot of the different things in Milwaukee. We had the different areas where, you know, my mother-in-law was raised on 14th and Beecher, and it was a Polish community back in the day. And fun stories is she used to take peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwich to school, but that was very cultural for, you know, what was going on in their neighborhood at the time. And I think mayonnaise was somewhat of a luxury. Her parents owned a small grocery store on the bottom, and they lived up on top. So there's a lot of that history with the different ethnicities in Milwaukee and things like that. You know, a lot of great stuff.
Well, where I am, it's very doable to go downtown.
Right.
I have season tickets to Milwaukee Rep, and so there's a lot of activities, you know, in the downtown, and I ride off of 43, so I can zip down and partake of those things, and then come back to my quiet little place in Grafton.
Yeah,
So
nice. That's really, really good.
I can honestly say I was happy.
Right.
I've been very happy here, and have really enjoyed the people and getting to know them, and you know, being a part of the whole community.
Right. Agreed. And I think there's something about that Midwestern feel too, that we're kind of tough, because we do get up and go to work during the winter when some of the other cities tend to shut down. And I get it, it's an infrastructure thing. They're not built for, you know, big highway machines to put salt down and all that stuff. But I feel like we're hardy and kind of a sweet soul as well. And that just really makes me feel at home here. Having lived in a bigger city before that felt a little bit more disconnected, this just feels like home.
Yeah,
So.
I've lived here now for almost 30 years, so it's my home.
Yep, absolutely.